Hello and welcome to day 2 of BlizzCon 2014. My name is Zoe and I have the pleasure of being the host for the World of Warcraft Arena World Championship, and we already had some amazing games being played yesterday. Who's been here yesterday? All right. Okay, so you didn't miss those games, and that's great. And we have some really great matches coming up today. So let's quickly take a look at the brackets to know what we will be seeing today. The first match will be Push from Korea going up against a skill-capped EU, and then afterwards we're going to head into the second semifinals, which will be Bleach Bones going up against 3 Amigos. So some really good games await us today. So I would say, without any further ado, because I really want to get the first game going as quickly as possible, I want to welcome our first team here onto stage. So please give a big round of applause for Push from Korea. And in their first match here today on stage, they will be facing off against skill-capped EU. So, skill-capped already got a little bit of a break yesterday, and they were able to just sit down and enjoy the matches, whereas Push actually had a really long day with really intense matches behind them. What did they do yesterday after the tournament was finished? Did they sit down and practice or talk things over for today, or did they just relax and calm down a little bit?
어제 이제 경기 펼치고 나서 이렇게 준결승까지 올라오게 됐는데 어제 이제 경기 끝나고 나서 혹시 연습을 더 하셨는지, 아니면 가서 오늘을 위해서 더 충전을 하기 위해서 휴식을 취했는지.
어제 경기 끝나고 바로 휴식을 취했어요.
His answer is simple. He was so glad he just went to his hotel room, just relax and, recharge for today.
Wonderful. So we hope you guys got the energy you will need going up against an opponent such as skill-capped. So I saw you guys wandering around in the halls yesterday. Did you watch the tournament and take some notes on your opponents?
Yeah, we did watch, of course, the games which were really exciting. We did take some notes, especially Talbiashi. He literally wrote down notes of how they were playing. So yeah, we did.
All right, so you guys came prepared, and I would say we are ready for the game. You guys look ready too. Are you guys ready? Oh yeah, you are. So we're gonna head into a very quick video and then hand it over to our casters.
Every member of a team is responsible for using crowd control abilities on their opponents to gain an advantage. A crowd control ability is one that you use against another player to prevent them from performing actions such as polymorph, cyclone, fear, and stun effects. You might, for example, see a healer crowd control another healer to assist offensively for their team. Then, as a response, you might see the other team's damage dealer crowd control one of the attacking damage dealers to lower the incoming damage. For more examples of team compositions and strategies, visit worldofwarcraft.com and navigate over to the arena forums.
Hello and welcome to BlizzCon. We are here live in Anaheim, California. I'm Azael, joined of course by VHel. Lore, he's doing the live raid, but he'll be back later. And guys, have we got some matches for you today?
Oh, we do. I am so excited for today. Every match yesterday was incredible. Down to the wire, so many matches, and we have even better ones coming up today.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely incredible. Only the best 4 teams are remaining. We're going to have Push versus skill-capped EU first. 3 Amigos going to be doing battle against Bleach Bones later today. And then, of course, we will have our grand finals, crown that champion, and we'll find out who's going to go home with the trophies, the glory, and the 120K.
Yeah, and of course, as usual, we are playing our standard Blizzard rules here. Yep. Of course, it is going to be the groups into single elimination bracket, which kind of threw people for a loop, people at home who are used to maybe group seeding into a double elimination bracket. But we are going to run the groups from last week that we started the matches, which is why we had the 2 EU teams that didn't even have to play yesterday into the single elimination bracket. And of course, the round of 8 and the semis are best of 5, and we're going to be doing best of 7 for the grand finals. Those are always awesome.
Yeah, especially when it's close series, when they do go down to the wire. I mean, we've had a lot of fantastic games. We've had a lot of ones that were, I think, a lot closer. You know, a lot of teams really did step it up for BlizzCon. Penny, for your thoughts, playing an amazing series, coming right down to the wire yesterday against Three Amigos. When you compare that to just, like a month or so ago, the series that they had at Regionals wasn't even close. So many of these teams really have put in the time. You can tell, really practiced up, and the games are showing the results of that.
Yeah, and of course we are going to start in a grand arena as usual, and then the loser gets to pick. I mean, looking at a series that went down to 2-2 at the end, can you imagine if those series went to 7?
Oh my God. I hope the grand finals are going to go to 7, dude. I mean, it would be so exciting. All 4 of these teams remaining really are deserving teams.
Oh, they are.
I think that any one of them has the ability to take this tournament.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about our favorites after last week was probably Skill-Capped EU, and they that was our early prediction once we were leaving the venue last weekend. But tell you what, man, Push is showing so well today.
Yeah, I mean, they're an incredibly dominant team. Their teamwork, I think, is pretty much as good as it can be. And after seeing them dismantle, a Shatterplate, it is obviously Fire Mage versus Frost Mage, it's different players, but still, after seeing them completely dismantle a team playing the same kind of composition yesterday, we'll see if Skill-Capped EU is going to have, the ability to play the same comp in a different way, or if they're just going to go with something different. But here on screen, we do see Coding. He's going to be playing the Druid. Yun going to be playing the Mage, and it is Ung on the Warrior. And we did have that confirmed. That is how to pronounce it. It's not Young like we've been saying. It's Ung. So, yeah, these guys definitely looking excited to be here. You have to say that just how happy the Coding is all the time. It's pretty contagious.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing that stands out to me is he's always so very excited. You look at when they're doing the post-match interview and he's almost like shaking on stage. He's so excited to be here. And I'm glad that we see players like that are really appreciative that, their team is doing so well. And of course, they are going to be playing against Skill-Capped EU, and you guys know these players. They've been around for a long time. Zuniaki and No Lifer, and they picked up Talbytree, and Talby's such a good Druid.
Yeah, he's playing absolutely incredibly well, and the little fist bump there from Zuni. We do see that, this is 2 out of the same 3 players that were in the BlizzCon finals last year. That one definitely did not go how they planned, as I believe they got blanked. They might have taken 1 game, but I think it could have been a 4-0. So, definitely want to redeem themselves after that one. They definitely want to get back to the BlizzCon finals and take a win this time for Europe. So we'll see if they're going to be able to do it. But both European teams, look so good in groups, but just as you see how the brackets are shaped out and kind of the matchups that they're ending with in the semifinals, you have to think that they really are up against it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's got to be a scary situation knowing that, they definitely did have some practice matches, off stage, sometimes because we queue the matches ourselves, we can see all war games that are going on. So, we sometimes jump in and take a look at who's playing. But I don't know, not being able to practice on stage and play like big matches before the finals, kind of scary.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously really nice to be able to skip all of yesterday's matches, but now the teams that didn't have to skip them and made it through anyway are going to be probably more warmed up. They are going to have those stage matches under their belt. Both of those 2 teams, Push and Three Amigos, will have played 2 stage matches already, and these guys are going to be on their first one. So, for someone like Talbytree, who will never played at a tournament like this, nerves could definitely be a factor. But guys, we are going to be starting this game up pretty shortly here. It's going to be on the Grand Arena, and Skill-Capped EU not going to go for the mirror, something that I definitely thought they might decide to do. Zuniaki plays that Warrior, and a lot of people were talking about the fact that they might be playing this as a mirror, not feeling confident in the Shatter play, but they are going to be starting it off at least with that. They can swap it up if it doesn't work out, but we will see what's going to go down. And right off the bat, they're going to be on the back with No Lifer here, who's putting a lot of damage into Yun. The Deep Freeze ring onto Coding, just kind of used defensively there. Orb going to come out onto Yun, who's taking a lot of damage, but Zuniaki at the same time is already in trouble. The block is forced there onto Yun. Really good early pressure here from Skill-Capped EU.
It is, and Yun got so low. That block came so late. Of course, these guys are playing on 5-millisecond latency, so you're able to hold that block for an extremely long time.
Yeah, look at the wreck. Everything being popped here by Ung. He's going to be going hard onto Zuniaki. He was on No Lifer, but he got away. Now he's going to have to swap it up. Into the clone, though, he goes. He's going to sit through this. His cooldown's expiring. Nice start for Skill-Capped EU, but as the cooldowns do kind of run out, that initial burst from Skill-Capped EU, will they be able to keep this up? Or will Ung and Yun really just kind of start to grind them down? They are going to be going back onto No Life, where we see that the phase silence is going to be played here by the Druid. That silence was up onto him, so he couldn't blink away. Coding has popped Heart of the Wild early on. So has Talby Tree. Both Druids, relatively close on mana. No big discrepancies on either side that way.
I'm surprised more Druids in this tournament haven't been playing that glyph. It's such a game changer when Coding can just toss out that silence, set up kills by himself.
Yeah, definitely. And now tossing one over onto Zunyaki into the Storm Bolt. He goes off of that. We do see that Yun Yun still kind of the target. Now Coding going to get face silence stuff. So both Druids actually are playing it this time around. Talby's, was CC'd there. He's going to be sheeped into the clone, and No Lifer's in a lot of trouble. He's down to 200k. He's going to have to block. Will it get shattered off? I believe it probably will. Yep, the shatter does come in. The Psychic Horror did expire, and now that block is gone. Talby is out of the CC, though, still holding on to his PvP trinket, so they do trade a block, but they hold on to their healer's trinket.
So you can see Talby playing excellent positioning. Of course, Coding is, really playing the LOS game a lot. As you see the charge, or the heroic leap into the fear onto Talby, followed by a blanket silence. Wow, look at all this cross CC all over skill capped EU.
Yeah.
And they're trying to set up a kill onto No Lifer. They're just going to train him into the ground now that he's missing his block and on hypothermia.
Yeah, and I mean, Ung had to wall there, but he trinketed and leaped as well. Definitely got a little bit nervous, I think, and of the damage he was taking. No Lifer is taking a fair bit of damage himself now. He's down to below half HP. Talby Tree with no trinket. This could be trouble. No Lifer may go down. He just falls. No block from No Lifer.
Wow.
And way too greedy there. And this has been, one of the problems with Skill Cap EU in these big pressure matches. They seem to falter a bit. When we look at the matches they lost in the European regionals, it was on no block, no disperse. When we look at last year in the BlizzCon finals, at least half of the games were no block, no disperse, and this has been something that has really plagued them. The nerves coming in big time, and in a series like this, we're talking about how tough it's going to be for them. You can't afford to give up a free game.
And it's incredible, like that crowd control at the end that started on Talby. When the game ended, Yon Yon had palm up. Like, he had the buff on him, so that chain was just starting too when they got that kill.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to see. The start was great from Skill Cap to you, but things started to fall apart a little bit. I mean, I'm not sure if it was a bit of a misplay or if Zuni was just trying to silence the trinket of Coding, but there was an entire fear silence overlapped, and it's both from him, so there's no real reason for that, unless he was, I think, trying to like pre-silence the trinket and trying to go for a big play like that. But sometimes those don't pay off, and No Life are getting a bit greedy with that block. I thought he could maybe hold on to it, didn't work out for him. But now they are going to be down a map, and the map advantage going to the Koreans, it means they only have to win on their selections. And we talked about how difficult of a matchup this is going to be for Skill Capped, even in the best of times. So it's like, when you have a game like that, it's so devastating, because if you go into a series and you're like, okay, we play a game or two. If it's not working out, we go to WMD. They could be saying that. But then when you have that game, you're down a game now.
Right.
And you can't judge anything from that. You can't say, oh, well, we can't win this. We can't win the series with this comp, because it wasn't a real game. It was a giveaway. But, who knows if they would have been able to win it at all later, because as the game stabilized, maybe they wouldn't have had a chance. But they learned nothing from that game. It's a complete throwaway. And it really does, put a damper on things, especially if they're considering changing comps, because, what can you take from this?
No, not at all. I mean, there was no real learning opportunity there. They did have that great initial burst straight from the start, almost killing Yun Yun right from the start. But Coding doing a great job of keeping his team up. And like we were saying, these guys are playing on a server that's extremely close by.
Yeah.
I think it's 5 millisecond latency across the board for everyone.
I've seen any WoW event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they can really hold on to those. And we were talking about how Laser Chicken, when he plays his matches, which we'll see coming up, he's always like, well, Earthsock.
I like no HP, but he hasn't died yet from it. So it's like, like I want to say that like, with him, I'm like, oh man, come on, you got to do it earlier than that. But at the same time, if he doesn't die, then you can't hold anything against him. So
of course,
we will see if that does come into play later. But for now, it is going to be Skill Cap to you. Pardon me.
And we have a replay coming up from the last match, so you can see the CC chain that ended it. So, this is when Young did pop his wall, and I like that he's using it while he was, pretty high on hit point at that point. And then you see once he has the double trinket up, he knows he can go for the kill. Because look at the CC chain starting on Talby right now.
Is he actually Oh, no, I guess he's not. So he's not using the low. He's pretty short cooldown because he did pop it once earlier. But yeah, No Lifer taking a lot of damage here, and you know, this is where he needed to start being worried. Talby was in the trinket, and you know, he's just kind of trying to kite out of there. I think they were hoping that they could pop that shroom because it looked like it was a fully charged shroom, and you know, Talby was coming out of the clone. So if they were able to get that off, he probably would have been okay. But it's one of those things where, you know, if it's like a 50-50 kind of thing, it's totally not worth taking the risk. But you know, it's easy to say that in hindsight.
Right.
You know, and
so,
at the same time, you know, you never know. It could have been Talby saying, "No, don't block. You're fine. I can shroom."
Exactly.
So you can't place all the blame there. And they are going to have their map choice. So hopefully, going to be able to get back into it.
Yeah, so they are switching to Ruins of Lordaeron is going to be their pick. You know, good solid pick. I think that they're able, with this map, they might be able to punish the warrior a lot more, you know, if he puts himself out of position.
And I think coding is going to have a much tougher time on Ruins of Lordaeron as well. It's so difficult to actually avoid the CC on a map like this. You know, as the Shadow Priest mage team, you can pull back, draw the warrior in. That's going to push coding up to the tomb. And once you're that far up to the tomb, it's so easy to get those, you know, those disarm fears, the sprint fears from the Shadow Priest, or a deep fear into the silence, that kind of stuff. So these combos are pretty easy to pull off when you already have that just a short distance to cover. So definitely something that coding is going to have to be worried about. But Skill Cap DU, this is a very important game for them. If they go down 2-0, it's gonna be rough. I mean, at that point, you know, can you even swap comps? It's like if you're down 2-0, it's so tough to know. Can you really say we're gonna win 3 in a row in a mirror? So I mean, they really need to win this one, guys. If you'd like to see Skill Cap DU take it, give them a cheer. And if you guys want to see Push take a stranglehold on this series with a 2-0 lead, let's hear it for the Koreans.
Got a pretty big fan base.
Wow, the Koreans, the Koreans building a lot of fans here already at BlizzCon, I think. So it is a 1-0 lead for Push over Skill Cap DU. It is the semifinals here at BlizzCon 2014. Zunyaki's going to be playing the Shadow Priest, No Lifer on the Mage, and Talby will be the Restoration Druid. I'm going to be on the Warrior. Yun will be the Mage, and Coding the Restoration Druid for the Koreans.
It looks like they're playing pretty cautiously at the start because, of course, in the last matchup, Skill Cap really did a number on Yun, you know, forcing the block almost instantly in that match. But you can see the CC already starting, and Zuni already had to trinket.
Yeah, he trinketed and actually got cloned up right off of that. So not the start that they were hoping for. No Lifer taking some damage from that orb, but really doing pretty well to lift it. And they're actually going to be going hard onto Coding. Shadow Fiend's already out on him. Deep Freeze is sat through, and he is okay with that early Barks, and he pops the Shroom. No Lifer in a lot of trouble now. Rex has been popped. Block probably going to have to come out here. He's down to 100k. There is that block. He's not going to risk it, but it's going to get shattered off. No, the block now canceled as he gets topped up from that Heart of the Wild Tranquility. Yun being pressured hard now, down to 200k. He's going to have to block. Blows being traded back and forth very heavily here. Nice disrupting shout on the polymorph though by Ung. We see the face silence coming down on Yun. He's going to be put into the sheep. Deep Freeze over onto Coding. Coding going to be in some trouble now as the Ice Lances come crashing in. Psychic Horror to follow that up. There's the silence. Fear to follow that up as well. He's down to 200k. Ursox has to come out. He's still under pressure. Will he go down? The Symbiosis block has to come out from Coding, and Skill Cap DU is coming out extremely aggressive.
They are, and you can see that Young is playing the safeguard too, so being able to hit that on Yun to put himself in a good position. Like, look at the polys coming out, you know, just across the board. I'm glad that they're choosing to go on to Coding. They're really making things happen with
this. This is trouble though. Full fear onto Talby. The block comes out. This one's going to be shattered. No Lifer maybe going down here. This could be game 2. The clone follows it up. I think he's in trouble. Ung right now is Nova'd up though. Nice CC. There's the poly comes out, but the charge is down, and No Lifer is in so much trouble. Defensive deep comes out. We just see a face silence onto Talby. He's going to have to block that, but I don't think it's going to be enough. 40k. He does go down, and Push
wow,
are one game away from the BlizzCon Grand Finals.
This WMD is so dominant. We see that, you know, they were trying to score the kill onto Coding, but, you know, he shrugged it off, you know, hitting that Ursox pretty low on hit points, but was able to LOS and run away. Of course, running Symbiosis block. You know, we talked about it yesterday where he was running the Fear for at least one game. So really glad he decided to not go with that choice.
Yeah, I think he did just run the Fear the first game, and then, he just swapped it up. But, you know, it really did pay off for them there, and kind of sometimes getting those surprise wins can be important here. But, I mean, that game, although, you know, Skill Cap DU did get a lot of pressure out, they did a great job. They chained their CC perfectly, their stuns as well, onto the Druid, and almost were able to take down Coding. It just wasn't quite enough. And I mean, the amount of CC that Talby was eating to be able to like stay aggressive and kind of be up in their face was just like way too much. And I mean, it seemed almost inevitable that they were going to die if they didn't get that early kill. But we do have a replay, so we can check that out, see these final moments of the game, and you know, we can see how much CC was on Talby. He gets a Stormbolt there. He's going to trinket the Stormbolt, unfortunately, into a full fear. So that is definitely not a good start already. Now the Shatter comes out, and we are just going to see this more and more CC. Now a full clone onto Talby. We see No Lifer did get away. The trinket came out on the Sheep. He's going to have to do deep defensive here. Another clone, meanwhile, onto Talby. Now we see the Disrupting Roar there. That is actually Symbiosis blocked, but he's deep frozen onto that. Just no chance to really control his character. And I think, you know, the main problem there was, you know, you can't really, I don't think, afford to trinket that Stormbolt when there's still CC available to be followed up. I mean, Intimidating Shout, not on cooldown. You know, there's NS clones available, you know, all those kind of things. And trinketing the Stormbolt, yes, it is definitely a rough situation, but at the same time, I just don't think it's something you can afford to do when all that CC is available, unless it's like a complete desperation situation. And I mean, No Lifer actually almost lived through all that CC, including the full fear. So had Talby had his trinket for that full fear, you know, or for one of the longer CCs, No Lifer may have been able to survive, but at the same time, it's just so hard to make those decisions because No Lifer was put into a block, and Ung actually very intelligently didn't use his Shatter on the first block because there was a, you know, Heart of the Wild Tranquility coming out. He knew he was going to be topped off, so he saved it for the second block. And, you know, Talby, seeing that No Lifer's down at like 150k in a block, felt he had to trinket it no matter what, even though it was a short CC. And in this case, it didn't really work out.
Yeah, and we saw great plays, you know, out of No Lifer towards the end, the deep into the Sheep, playing defensively, but, you know, once the Warrior was able to get out of that, because he just previously trinketed too. If they would have had some good cross CC onto coding at that point, they may have prevented that Dispel, you know, and kept the Warrior off of him. But, you know, it's those split-second decisions that you have to make, and of course, you know, CCing the Warrior, whether the Shadow Priest wasn't able to get over to him or not, you know, hard to say. And that could have been the game changer at that point. We're just waiting for these players to get ready. And I mean, I can't say enough about this team. I mean, look at they seem so excited and happy to play, and they are just dominating all their matches.
Yeah, they're really looking absolutely awesome here today. Well, and really throughout the whole tournament, even in their only loss against Bleachbones, they still look damn good. I mean, they almost beat the LSD2 on Blade's Edge, which seemed to be a near impossible feat. But Skillcap DU, you know, they crushed through the opening bracket last weekend. But, you know, they haven't played a single game since then. You know, this is now their first stage match at BlizzCon. You know, Push is fully warmed up. They played 2 stage matches yesterday. Now, here in their third one, this is going to feel like a little bit more comfortable for them. And, you know, that could definitely be playing a role here. I mean, you know, jitters on the no block in the first game. Second game, you know, a trinket that was maybe a bit questionable from Talby. But as we said, it's extremely difficult to make those calls. But still, you have to play basically perfect. This is a matchup that we talked about being extremely difficult for that Shatter play, for the team that, you know, Skillcap DU is playing. And if they want to beat Push, they are going to have to outplay Push. And you just can't afford to have any mistakes against this team because their team play is just incredible, and Push really doesn't make many mistakes at all.
No, they really don't. I mean, I can't even pick out one mistake that was made in those last 2 matches out of Push. Like looking
I mean, the only
thing
I guess you could look at is maybe the second shield wall was questionable or something. You know, that was maybe early, but yeah, at the same time, it's, you know, allowing his crew to stay more offensive, and it's I don't know. I mean, there's really no big mistakes that they have made, and you know, Skillcap DU has had a couple, and they're going to have to play perfectly if they really want to be able to do it.
And this is what we were talking about. This is a very risky decision, especially after not playing on stage, you know, for a week. It's such a big gamble, but they have to do something. Those first 2 matches were completely one-sided in Push favor.
But yeah, I mean, it is going to be the comp swap, and Skillcap DU going to be playing the mirror here against Push. They're going to be going up against it. Zunyaki will be making the swap to the Warrior, and he's going to have to play very well if he wants to compete against Ung here. We'll see if he's going to be able to do it. And, you know, having to make that call after the second game instead of the first because of that missed block is definitely something that could come back back to bite them. We'll see, though, how this one's going to play out. No Life are going into the Invis. They need to win this, and they need to win this now. They're going to have to take 3 straight against the Koreans, who've been looking nigh unstoppable. Zunyaki now going to be storm bolted up, coding into the deep freeze. Clone over onto Ung. Zunyaki going to be over onto Yun. Heroic Leap does come out. He throws the fear over onto coding. That's going to be the trinket there. We see disarm over onto Zunyaki. Now that disrupting roar. Talbytree gets actually trinkets the roar into a full clone. Not a good start there for him. But Yun is getting absolutely rocked right now. Coding does have the Heart of the Wild pop, but we do see that he's going to be charged right back over onto him. He's down to 200k. A Reckless has been popped by Zunyaki. Looks like he's actually good to try to hold onto his block. No Lifer's in a lot of trouble as well, but Yun does get topped off. Talbytree has his Heart of the Wild pop. Zunyaki going to be sheeped up. He does get out of that now in battle stance, just doing so much damage to these two mages. We just see that No Lifer throws the MCS over onto Yun, and Zunyaki trying to get right back over onto him. Talby going to be thrown into the deep freeze. Yun down dangerously low, coding into the deep freeze. Now the full sheet comes out. There's the block. Is he going to go for the shatter? He is. Oh no, a nice charge comes in from Ung, blocking that out, but he is going to get the shatter off now. Yun sitting very low. There's still some CC over onto coding. He's going to have to use the symbiosis block to get out, but a good roar comes in. Coding is going to be into the full clone. Great CC from Talbytree. Could this be the start of the comeback? Down to 100k. It looks like he's going to go down. No, he's alive. He's still alive. He's down to 30k, but he's back up to 50. Last stand comes out. Coding's into the deep freeze. They're trying desperately to finish him off. Will they be able to? And it's Yun. He falls. Zunyaki, Talbytree.
Wow.
And No Lifer play an amazing game there, and Talby has to take a lot of the credit there. Fantastic CC throughout the whole game, really, manipulating the Koreans, controlling the pace of the game, and he says maybe I messed up last game, but this one he certainly didn't. Talby was playing just incredibly well.
What an amazing match that was. It just was so back and forth. We saw there was a couple scary moments for Zunyaki when he got storm bolted in battle stance while they were going on him, and there was a great charge from Ung to interrupt the shatter. There were so many good things that both teams did, and unfortunately for Push, Skill-Capped EU just able to land that last CC chain.
Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, we have a series. It is not going to be a clean sweep. The Europeans not going to go down without a fight here. And now, a very actually convincing game has to be said. Yeah. And that was super fast-paced. And I think, if you're Skill-Capped EU, you want it to be a bit messy. You don't want Push to be able to get into their comfort zone. This is a comp that they're going to have played so much more than you. So, I think that you really kind of want it fast-paced. You want it rushed down. You want it, one of those games where you can maybe just have it a bit more unpredictable.
Now, these last few moments, as we will see, the hypothermia, he was just trying to kite as much as he could with his druid. But we do have a replay of those final moments for the mage. And you can see he did literally everything to stay alive, non-stop. See, he's even playing Ice Ward, smart across the board.
Yeah, but just so much CC was coming out from Talby. The clone, another clone after that. He had a beautiful roar on the trinket before, and Yun getting away here, but No Lifer, spamming out those ice lances, just desperately trying to finish him off. And Zunyaki was disarmed, but No Lifer able to secure the kill there. Ung was just desperately trying to keep the warrior off him, but it was not quite enough. And now they are down 2-1 still. They have to win 3 straight overall, but they looked damn good in that. And
yeah,
the possibility is there.
And that switch, down 2, there's so much pressure, and they were able to score the first point. This is big momentum for them at this point.
Definitely is, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of a map the Koreans want to go for. They may want to try to, spread it out a little bit, look at a map that maybe would be a little less aggressive so they can kind of control the pace of the game a little bit better, get more into their comfort zone. Because I think, if you're the better team, you kind of want it to go longer. If you're saying, okay, we're better at WMD than they are, the longer the game goes, the more mistakes they'll make, the more things we can capitalize on.
Yeah, that's the big thing, especially when it's your comp that you play. You know your flaws. You know that when the CC chain starts on the Druid, you really need to have the Warrior trying to break it up, it's just going to be a nail-biter this match because, of course, Skill-Capped EU, even though they did win that last round, they are still facing elimination.
They definitely are. They are not out of the woods just yet, not even close. Still gonna have to win 2 more mirrors against one of the best teams I've seen in recent memory. So it's gonna be an actually incredible match. Zunyaki, of course, is gonna be sticking on the Warrior. So it's gonna be Zunyaki playing the Warrior for Skill-Capped EU, Talbytree on the Restoration Druid, No Lifer on the Frost Mage. It's gonna be Ung on the Warrior for Push, along with Yun playing the Mage and coding on the Druid. The gates are about to open for Tiger's Peak. It's game 4 here. We are live in Anaheim, California for BlizzCon 2014. This is the semifinals. Push Push 1 game away from the grand finals, but Skillcap EU refusing to go down. Will they be able to tie it up here? Let's find out.
And straight from the start, you know, we did see a lot of early pressure from Skillcap this entire match so far. It's immediately, look at this CC starting already on Push Push.
Yeah, both Warriors just trading Storm Bolts. Shockwave comes out on Zunyaki. CS over there onto Talbotry. Yunyun down dangerously low, maining to block. He's down to 100k again, 60k, are you kidding me? He needs the block, he does finally do so. The Fear comes out on Coding. The NS heal with Heart of the Wild. The block did come out, was not able to be shattered. Now the shatter going to be canceled by Zunyaki as he does try to get right back over onto Yunyun. Yunyun could be in some trouble here as this is a great start for Skillcap. It's going to come down largely to who can get CC on the opposing team's Druids earlier because neither of them do have a trinket. The pressure, though, heavily in the favor of Skillcap as the deep freeze. Sheep comes over on a Coding. That's going to be full. Stormbolt thrown over at Young. We do see that Yunyun's in some trouble. Zunyaki pops all his cooldowns. Back his Skull Banner is up. Full Shockwave onto Yunyun. He's in trouble, but the Shroom gets popped. It's going to be a crit. He's right back to full. And Yunyun going to be sheeped up. Nice reflect there from Zunyaki. Now the pummel comes out from Zunyaki, interrupting his second sheep in a row. Well played there by him. Ong on the other end of things does pop die by the sword. He's trying to get right over onto No Lifer. Deep freeze onto Talbotry. And Talbotry is going to have to do some work here if he wants to keep No Lifer alive.
So it looks like he's playing Mass Spell Reflection this round. Smart choice. Oh no, I'm sorry, that was Safeguard that went off. So Yunyun is going to be the target still from Zunyaki, but Zunyaki's cooldowns are down, but look at how much pressure he's putting out on him by himself. Big Sheep onto Coding right now. Second one with DR, but Yunyun down to half right now with the poly.
This is bad though. Zunyaki got Sheep behind the pillar, and we couldn't see Talby get over there to dispel it. Yunyun does get forced into the block by No Lifer though. Full Sheep gonna be maybe come over onto Coding. Another reclone does come out. Last stand gonna be up for Yunyun, but he could be going down. MCS over. Here comes Zunyaki. The X2's gonna be stemmed out. Yunyun goes down. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
They are pumped up. Zunyaki and No Lifer on their feet. And they are saying, we are here, and we are here to play. They want the grand finals, and the Koreans are on the back foot. They are going to be asking the ones to step it up if they want to take this series.
Oh, they really are, and we saw Zunyaki stand up and cheering, and of course, at that moment, Ung and Coding still trying to play it out, because you never know, you just got to try for it.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes teams do cheer a little bit too early. I'm sure you remember back in 2009, it was, you know, the Orange Marmalade, the 1v2 against SK Gaming. That's, you know, one of those famous moments in WoW Arena history. One of the things that a lot of people actually don't know about that is that, you know, in that mirror, SK Gaming was actually standing up and cheering. They thought the game was over. They weren't really paying attention. And they got 1v2'd, and they lost the series after that.
Oh, yeah.
So pretty insane though. We're all tied up 2-2, and now I mean,
look at the damage difference.
Yeah,
it is a massive difference between these
No Lifer
teams.
did triple the damage of Yunyun.
They did. He was just shut down the entire time. We do have a replay of the final moments for Yunyun, and it was just, you can see he was trying to do everything by himself. But the big moment for me is coming up on here is that the block was forced while Zunyaki was sitting in a full sheep behind the pillar. Yeah. Like, that's it right there.
And
because of
really,
the CC chain.
To me, these two games have come down to Druid versus Druid. Talby is the one always getting the CC out first on a Coding. And Coding is just falling behind as a result of it. I mean, when you look at that situation, Zunyaki sheep behind the pillar, out of LOS, Talby is the one that has to push forward into Coding, and yet he's the one getting the CC off first, which to me just seems kind of crazy, you know?
Yeah.
You would think that in that situation you would be at such a disadvantage, but Coding was actually the one that got CC'd up. No Lifer is able to solo force the block onto Yunyun. Well, Zunyaki's in a full sheep behind the pillar, and it's like, you know, out of nowhere, the game just completely kind of got turned on its head.
Yeah, just waiting for the pick, and now that it's tied up?
I mean, now that it's tied up, and you're push, you're the ones that are the WMD, you're the ones that are not supposed to be losing this kind of a mirror, and do the nerves really start to set in for them now? Is it like, oh crap, are we actually going to get 3-0'd in a mirror by someone playing their alt? I mean, it's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, it is, and this is the, I'm really glad, of course, that Skillcap did change, because those first two rounds were not anything great for that team, and of course Zunyaki just showing absolute dominance.
And I mean, imagine if they had started with this comp.
Yeah.
I mean, the first game was a gimme with the no block. The second one, they're like, okay, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah.
And then they swapped. Now they win 2 in a row in the mirror, which I don't think anyone would have predicted. I don't think they would have predicted that. But you know, they have a lot of confidence in their team that plays really well together. And I mean, the damage difference between No Lifer and Yun was ridiculous. He literally tripled his damage.
Yeah.
And that is just unreal.
Not only that, Ung's damage was not even close to Zuniaki's.
No.
I think that Zuniaki definitely
Did
had
at least 50% more.
Right, yeah, and he just had way more opportunities to effectively use his cooldowns during that match.
And I mean, I really just feel like a lot of this, it all comes down to the difference between Talby and Coding in this game. And I feel like Talby's really outplaying him. He's getting the CC out more onto Coding, and Coding is not able to get the dispels onto Ung. As a result, Zuniaki's sticking harder onto Yun. They're getting the cooldowns out of him earlier, and it's just kind of snowballing. So a lot of pressure here, I think, on the Koreans now. There's no smiles on those faces right now, and it's going to be push versus Skill Cap DU. We're in game 5. This is for the grand finals, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear a cheer for these two teams.
Fans on both sides for this match, and I'm glad it went down to a 2v2 because of that. We're going to follow No Lifer out, just see how much damage he does straight from the start. You know, we've seen a lot of very, very early pressure onto Yun from No Lifer. Kind of mage duel going on from the start while the Warriors are kind of
Interesting, yeah, because both times the Warriors were the ones kind of starting it off early last time, and now Zuniaki going to be the one to get this first Stormbolt out. There's the deep sheep onto Coding. Yun going to trick it immediately into the MCS, though. He could be taking some major damage early on. No Lifer at the same time, though, getting hit pretty hard. Iron Bark up onto No Lifer. Deep Freeze over onto Talby Tree. Both Druids. Actually, no, Coding, now that both Druids do have their Heart of the Wild up. Talby is going to have to trinket. The fear comes out on Coding. He has to trinket as well. Yun being pressured very hard. The sheep does come over on him. Full fear onto Talby, though. He's going to try to sit through this as No Lifer does kite away. He's trying to get out of there. Reckless has been popped by Young, but he is sheeped up. He actually not able to connect too much, but No Lifer may be forced into the block anyway. Talby needs to get back to No Lifer if he wants to keep him out of that block. Nice Stormbolt into the clone onto Young. Great play there from Zuniaki and Talby to hold onto the block from No Lifer. Zuniaki, though, at the same time, was getting a little bit low, down to half HP, now being topped back up by his Druid.
Yeah, especially where they chose to go with the Cyclone instead of the heals. You know, Talby and No Life are doing a great job of communicating at that point.
Yeah, just fantastic stuff. And I mean, you know, getting that Stormbolt allowed them to do it, but they're turning around on Zuniaki. They're trying to maybe take advantage of this ult. He's going to be put in the deep freeze. Shockwave off of that. He's down to 200k. He's taking a lot of damage. The Iron Bark is up, though, but now the turning around comes in on Ung. We do see the disorienting roar onto Coding. Talby getting the CC as always. Shield wall comes up, but will it be too little too late? He's getting bursted down through it. Was down briefly to 60k. Drops the Mocking Banner. Shield wall. Die by the sword. Last stand. Those are all of his cooldowns. One more CC onto Coding. Could be the series. Ung is in a lot of trouble here. He needs to get picked back up. In comes the Iron Bark, though. It's a Warrior versus Warrior duel right now, and Zuniaki is coming out on top, but the Deep Beams comes crashing in. Yun gonna be CS. Out comes the Orb. No Lifer sheeped up now. Both Warriors are still pumping damage into each other back and forth. Full sheep now onto Coding. In comes the swap onto Yun. He gets out of there with the Ice Ward, though. At Talby into the full sheep. No Lifer may not be so lucky. He's getting pretty low here. We may see the first block from No Lifer. A fear, though, onto Coding. That's gonna be full from Zuniaki. Ung put into the Shockwave sheep, and now it's a 3v1 onto Yun. Talby just needs to keep No Lifer alive. Will he be able to do it? No Lifer getting pretty low here. May want to block. We'll see if he's going to hold on to it. A nice meld, though, does come out from Talby on the clone from Coding.
As Yun is going to look like he might make it out of here, as he is trying to kite away back. But look at No Lifer's health at this point, so dangerously low, with Talby trying to get back into line of sight.
He's got a block, man. He's down to 50k. That was so close there. And I mean, he does hold on to that block, but you really want to risk, you know, losing a game like this on no block. And Talby is healing him up pretty well here, but No Lifer still has been so low for such a long time. Now the MCS does come in. There's a Stormbolt onto No Lifer. He's going to trinket that. Talby is out of the CC for now. Coding has his trinket back, so the advantage has to be said to be in the Koreans' favor.
Zuniaki had to trinket that Cyclone. He really wanted to stay offensive during that onslaught right there. As look at the no trinkets on for skill-capped EU. Of course, Coding and Young and Ung both having their trinkets available. But of course, Yun just is going to be the man who's going to be taking all the damage during this match.
And look at Talby's mana, man. I mean, he has no trinket and he has less than half the mana of Coding. The Koreans really starting to take advantage here in this final game. Talby, though, put into the Stormbolt. Deep freeze onto Zuniaki. Deep freeze over onto Coding as well. Zuniaki's in some trouble, though. MCS now onto No Lifer. We just see that Zuniaki down below half HP. He is in that defensive stance. Talby into the full sheep, though, and Talby is No Lifer's in trouble now. Things looking really bad for skill cap DU. Will they be able to turn this one around? Another sheep comes out on Talby. This could be the game that Will the Shattering Throw comes out. He pops the die by the sword, so he can't get disarmed on it, and he's trying to finish him off. Ung is going to use his trinket as well. Full sheep over onto Coding, who had used his trinket also. Yun's in some trouble now. He's going to blink out of there. Iron Bar comes out. Deep freeze onto Talby, but he gets a good roar on the deep deep freeze. No CC able to come out as a result of that from Yun. No Lifer is still the one getting lower here, and a full fear over on Talbi. This could be bad for No Lifer. He is on hypothermia, but he's kiting well. He is staying alive, and Yun is taking some damage here as well. There's the blink from No Lifer, but here comes the leap. Ong is in hot pursuit. He has the recklessness pop, and No Lifer is getting very, very low. Second block comes out. Talbi is into the MCS. Now he is out of it. Clone over onto Zunyaki. Full sheep onto Talbi, though. He has no trigger for some time, and No Lifer is in a bit of a 3v1 situation as the Stormbolt lands on Zunyaki.
Yun is going to trinket to stay offensive right there, desperately trying to get onto his target. No Lifer needs to take a lot of damage right now if they want to secure the win, because the CC is starting on Talbi. No Lifer taking a whole lot of damage as he's down.
Oh, he gets blocked. The blink lock comes in from Yun onto Talbi, and this could be the game. No Lifer in so much trouble, but Yun's forced into the block. He's trying to get the shatter on, but a good disarm from Ung. The reckless was popped by Zunyaki there. Yun going to be topped off. Both teams do stabilize somewhat, but look at the man on Talbi. He's into the full clone, has the trinket, but he has no mana. Zunyaki gonna trinket as well. He knows he needs to keep the pressure on if they want to stand a chance in this match. Yun down low. Coding has no trinket available. Deep freeze comes out. Rallying cry bought by Ung. Could they get the kill here? Both mages are just trying so hard to stay alive. The clone offensively is gonna be thrown on Talbi tree, but critically, the fear was used at the same time. The overlap could be huge, but Yun may be going down. Second block comes out. The shatter is gonna be used by Zunyaki. Ironbark is up. Can he get out of there? The deep freeze roar onto Talbi tree. He's trying so hard to keep No Lifer alive, but he's been running on fumes for way too long.
He has the shockwave, comes out onto Coding, as you can see with the MCS onto Yun also. No Lifer not taking too much damage right now. Temporal Shield is going to heal him up a bit. Brain Freeze comes out.
Full sheep onto Talbi though.
Oh yeah.
He's going to be in trouble, man. No Lifer is going to, if the follow-up comes out on Talbi, this could be it. He's trying to blink out of there. He's trying to survive, but will he be able to? The full clone now onto Talbi tree to follow up that full sheep. They're trying to turn it around on Yun. Deep freeze onto Ong defensively. He did trinket into that. It could be a full sheep. Can Coding get to him for the dispel? Doesn't look like it just yet. Talbi comes out of the deep freeze, trying to top off of No Lifer. No Lifer still down low. Coding getting the full tranquility. He's going to be okay. And both teams stabilizing. Talbi tree catching up in mana. Zunyaki into the sheep. That's dispelled, but the resheep will sit.
Yeah, and I mean, dangerously low mana. We see the Innervate used by both druids at the exact same time right there. Those aren't going to get spell stolen off, it looks like, as we see some clones coming out onto Ung right now, which is great for No Lifer, because he is seriously in trouble. I mean, how long do you think he has left on his cold snap before he gets another block?
It's almost up. There's actually 5 seconds on his cold snap, so he really needs to live just a couple more seconds. Talbi tree going to use the symbiosis block, but he blocks into a sheep. He's not able to shift it, and Coding's pushing in. He can get the follow-up. There is that follow-up clone. He's in trouble. No Lifer sitting through this block. He knows he needs to sit through it, but the CC may continue to come out onto Talbi tree. Zunyaki, though, doing a nice job breaking that up with the intimidating shout onto Coding. That was critical to keep themselves alive.
So we see Zunyaki behind the pillar, just trying to put damage into Yun, but fully hotted with the Iron Bark up, as Coding is going to be cloned. Looks like it may have been a reflect at that point.
Yeah, it was a beautiful reflect there by Zunyaki, which has really given them the edge here. And now Coding put into the roar. He's able to meld the clone from Talbi, who's going to be deep frozen. He's shockwaved up as well. Zunyaki trinkets. He's trying to get back onto Yun. Down low. The MCS comes out on Coding. Yun is in trouble. He's got to get out of there. He's at 50k, 80k HP. He has a couple heals coming in. Coding's in the clone. He may go down 7k. He goes down, and skill count to you. They turn it around 3 in a row against the Korean WMD in the mirror. One of the most amazing comebacks in WoW Arena history.
That was incredible. That Zunyaki just played so well. I mean, you have to put yourself in his mindset when he's going behind the pillar by himself, reflecting that clone to set up the kill. Those were awesome plays.
That was fantastic, and it really, killed the momentum that that Push had been building up until that point. A beautiful clone reflect there by Zunyaki, just incredible, and we are going to get a replay of those final moments. And all the hots fell off during that clone, and out of that, he was CC'd by Talbi. It was just such a critical point in the game. I mean, if he does land that clone, Zunyaki's doing no damage. Mage gets healed back up to full, but he has the presence of mind, notices the clone, lands the reflect, and that is the big play that kind of just ended that game. And Push did step it up in this final game. The damage was very similar across the board, but let's have a round of applause for both teams. both these competitors, some of the very best in the world. And I mean, disappointing for Push Push, but they're still smiling.
But yeah, exactly. And they know that we can see our replay of the final moments, but during these matches, they really played, they did their best. There wasn't any mistakes that I saw out of Push Push to make anything, to make them want to go home, kind of ashamed or down on themselves. But you can see that it was just a very long, slow death for Yeon Yeon, the CC just coming out on the coding short clone. And that was it.
Yeah, just not able to survive there, Coming out of that clone, Reflect Coding did land another one over on his Zunyaki, but he had the PvP trinket available, and just, Druids, one of their kind of struggles is playing from behind. It's catching back up, and Coding was a master of this. He showed it, in the dampening and everything, but sometimes you get too far behind, and it's like Druids are so good when they're ahead, when you have the team stabilized, you keep the HOTS rolling. But, in this case, he was just too far behind, couldn't pick his team back up, and Skill Cap DU complete the reverse 3-0 sweep. We have Zoe with Zunyaki and the rest on the stage.
Thank you very much, guys. And I have Skill Cap joining me here. They are the first team advancing into the final. But before I'm going to have a word with you, I want to hear a massive applause for the guys from Push Push. That was incredible what they showed us throughout the last 2 days. And now let's talk about those matches. That was absolutely insane. What a comeback. Now, at the beginning, you guys stick to your initial comp, where a lot of people would say you probably would have a disadvantage there, and it did not really work out in your favor. What was the moment when you thought mirroring it would be the safer way?
Honestly, we wanted to mirror since the start. We were like 50-50, we were like, sure, what should we do? Should we mirror them? Which is, their main comp. This is an all comp for us, so people were like, there's no way you'll beat them as WMD, they're much better. So it made us think, maybe we'll have a better chance as God comp. Our two first game were kind of sloppy. We could have played better and still probably won. I think we played better, but as you said, it is a really hard matchup. And then we're like, we're down 2-0, and Nullifier was really, really confident on mirroring them, so we went with that.
All right, so before the game you told me that you actually took some notes, wrote down what were the key points going up against Push Push? What was the thing you thought is really like the most important to take into account?
I would have to say, I don't know, because we started as God comp, and we had a few strats planned in our mind. We decided to go Druid because he does not play with Barskin Glyph, and it almost worked out. Unfortunately, we lost that game. So there's little things like that. We knew that we had few strats set up, but as WMD, we just knew we had to play good. We had to play better. There was the only way in a mirror match that you can win. You just have to, just try and hold CDs as much as you can. You have to try and save them. You have to try and play aggressive, go for CC at the right time, just overall playing better.
All right, and that you did. So once more, congratulations. Can't wait to have you back here on stage when we're heading into the finals. And now we're going to take a look again at the brackets to see what we can expect right after this match. So Push Push went up against Skill Cap. Push Push unfortunately lost, but they put up a hell of a fight. And now the next one we're going to see is 3 Amigos going up against the guys from Bleach Bones. So that's going to be a very interesting match again. So for now, we're going to head into a quick break, but stay tuned. We'll be right back with the next semifinals.